The Force is with you, young Skywalker. You are not a Jedi yet.
Hey, what is up, YouTube fam? It's Dupree, aka Darth here with some fresh Star Wars news. This one comes to us from Screenrant. So apparently Matt Smith, the Doctor Who actor, is finally opening up about, his rumored role in the Rise of Skywalker. But before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe because that greatly helps out the channel. And don't forget to check out my last video. Let's get into this. Matt Smith breaks silence on cut Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker character. And I have some theories about this we'll talk about at the end, obviously. Matt Smith has opened up about his rumored Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker role, saying it would have shifted the history of the franchise. Oh, okay. Some bold words right there. Matt Smith opened up about his rumored role in The Rise of Skywalker, saying it would have caused a big shift in the Star Wars canon. The 39-year-old actor rose to fame as the 11th Doctor in the Doctor Who, taking over from fan favorite David Tennant, whatever. I don't watch Doctor Who, so David Tennant and whatever. In the show's 5th season, Smith played the iconic role for 3 years, departing in December 2013. Since leaving the show, Smith has popped up in several big Hollywood movies, including a minor role in 2015's Terminator Genisys. That movie was terrible. And now a star part in Edgar Wright's mystery thriller Last Night in Soho. One of the actor's biggest opportunities in recent years never came to fruition. However, as the actor was heavily rumored to appear in 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. The ninth Star Wars film, directed by J.J. Abrams, saw the culmination of the entire Skywalker saga as Rey, Finn, and Poe rallied the galaxy's remaining heroes to make a final stand against the First Order after the sudden return of the long-dead Emperor Palpatine. Supposedly the last numbered installment of the Star Wars franchise, the movie was released with mixed reviews, made good at the box office, making over $1 billion worldwide. Despite his expected appearance, Smith was nowhere to be seen in the finished film, leading to many fans to wonder just who the actor was set to play. In an interview with Josh Horowitz on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, the actor finally opened up about his omitted character, saying it just never quite happened. He confirmed he was in talks to appear in the movie, but that the part eventually became obsolete. Smith was then asked if he was going to play the part of the Emperor's son, referencing rumors that listed him as a young Palpatine. With a grimace reluctance, he answered, I could not possibly say," adding more fuel to the speculative fire. Smith called his part a pretty groovy thing that would have transformed the history of the Star Wars universe. Unfortunately for fans, the actor confirmed he never got as far as a costume test for the mysterious role. But he offered a glimpse of hope, saying, "Maybe I can come back, you never know." Read the transcript in the interview below. "We were close to me being in it, but then it never quite happened. I think they were thinking of me. Eventually the part became obsolete. They didn't need it, so I never got to be in Star Wars." On if Smith was playing Palpatine's son, I could possibly not say, but it was a pretty groovy thing. It was a big story detail, like, transformative Star Wars story detail, but it never quite got over the line. It was a big shift in the history of the franchise. There was no costume test. There were a couple of meetings to talk about it. Maybe I can come back, you never know. While Smith's future in Star Wars remains unclear, the actor is set to join the Marvel Universe with next year's Spider-Man spin-off Morbius. Smith will be facing down Jared Leto's bloodlust anti-hero as the ruthless vampire hunter. The former Doctor Who star is also entering the fantasy world of the Game of Thrones and HBO's upcoming prequel series, House of Dragon. Meanwhile, following the polarizing reaction to this recent sequel movie, Star Wars has been shifted its focus to television, with its successful Disney Plus shows. The recent of the Boba Fett trailer showcased the more long-form narrative style being preferred by the media franchise, which has had several huge setbacks in development, including Kenobi and Ahsoka spin-offs. Smith's comments will only make fans more intrigued. The finished film reportedly went through several changes during production as the franchise looked to respond to the polarizing reception of The Last Jedi. For now, fans know very little about the actor's deleted part, but they do know it had big implications for the galaxy far, far away. Smith's openness to return to the part leaves the door open for the character to finally be revealed, and perhaps he could find himself appearing in one of several new planned Star Wars projects. The perfect candidate may be a mysterious upcoming Disney Plus show, The Acolyte, which is set to explore the rise of the Sith. If Smith was indeed linked to Palpatine, maybe he could bring you a young Sith Lord to life in the prequel series. Until then, the actor's mysterious Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker role remains unknown. Okay, so I do have a theory about this. I remember when all this news was being broken, and I remember when there were talks for Matt Smith and all that. As for Palpatine's son, all that, I don't know. Possibly. I think what I will say is there are possible two outcomes for what his part should have been in that film. He could have been Palpatine's son, Palpatine's clone son, the failed clone that, didn't have the Force, who got with Rey's mother, and they got together and had Rey, and then was killed by Ochi of Bestu. That's one outcome. And I could see that more happening with Matt Smith over the guy they chose, because he didn't really look like a young Palpatine. Like, it's supposed to be a clone of Palpatine, so I would hope they would have somebody that looks very close to a very, very young Ian McDiarmid, but they didn't. That guy, oddly enough, looked like Joel Edgerton, the guy who plays, Owen Lars in Episode 3, and then, he's going to do it again in the Kenobi series. I could have saw Matt Smith do that. The second part, which I'm thinking, he could have played a young Palpatine. They did say it in this. He could have definitely played a young Palpatine. He still could play a young Palpatine. Through flashbacks, through anything, he could have rocked that. I could have seen him doing that. Because he has a very interesting look about him. He doesn't very much look like Ian McDiarmid, but he looks, he looks like his facial features look very interesting. I could have seen him doing some kind of role, or them putting the makeup on or something, and that's not to say that they still can't use him for a future project, like they just said, an Acolyte, or which I would love for them to do is, like, say, a prequel series about young Palpatine, how he gets with Darth Plagueis, how he eventually becomes Sith Lord. If you guys read the Plagueis book, spoilers, Plagueis and Palpatine actually will the Force, and then the Force actually creates Anakin. So technically, Palpatine and Plagueis created Anakin, and even though that novel's not canon, that's still a very fascinating, thing to, touch on, which they could possibly still do eventually later down the line. But yeah, like they said, Star Wars Acolyte, nobody knows what that show is going to really be about. All we know is it's mostly about a female character, and it's about the Sith. So, and it's before the prequel trilogy, so that could be a possibility. But I'm hoping whatever they do, when they eventually touch on Palpatine again, it's about his rise to the Sith. Maybe even showing him taking, a young Zabrak, aka a young Darth Maul, as his apprentice. Maybe that's what we could see in the future. But this is interesting. Obviously, he's probably still under NDA contract, so he can't really talk too much about what's happening or what was supposed to happen, but I think he was probably supposed to be a young Palpatine, and there were supposed to be some other implications that would have affected the story. It would have been like, oh, this is why this happened. Because you see that all throughout Disney Star Wars right now. They're trying to force connect the dots with all these movies to the sequel trilogy, and sometimes I like it, sometimes I really don't, but that's the game now, just connecting the dots, just connecting the narrative to make these three trilogies seem cohesive as one. But they're not. you have two trilogies which George Lucas directed, produced, wrote, and then you have Disney's trilogy, which they're going off their own, fruition. They're doing their own thing, and it's very hard to marriage the two, especially with like little things like that. I'm one of the few that's like, leave what George wrote alone, make the new stuff its own thing. This Matt Smith thing, if they were going to do a young Palpatine, I feel like it would have to have the creator's approval, which a lot of this stuff really didn't. But Disney's going to do their own thing, and things changed. A lot of things changed during production. Case in point, they changed directors, they changed the story for this film. A lot of things changed. But anyway, this has been my thoughts about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think Matt Smith's role would have been. It would have been a young Palpatine, Palpatine's clone son, or just another character in general. Let me know. And if you guys like this video, please hit that like button. And if you could be so kind as to hit the subscribe button, that'd be cool. And then also don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications for all my latest videos. That would be great. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this. Take care. See you in the next one. May the Force be with you. Bye.